Welcome to Riverbend Talent on WBGZ, brought to you by the Halpin Music Company.
More Riverbend Talent here on the Big Z. I'm Dennis, and join me via video chat is Billy Hurst. How's it going, Billy?
It's going well. How about yourself?
Oh, well, we're just trying to survive this quarantine, and I know this has affected you on both sides of what you do as a photographer and as a musician. So I thought I'd call you up and talk to you about what you're going through.
Oh, well, I greatly appreciate it. I'm glad we were able to make this work. But yeah, definitely while I was down in spring training, in Jupiter for spring training, we got the call, of course, that everything was going to be canceled on Friday the 13th, which is kind of ironic.
It is.
Everything came down. I mean, our world just was turned literally upside down that day. I was going to be there until about the 20th or the 21st, but they sent everybody home. They were not messing around. I mean, when they knew the last game, or there were going to be no more games on Thursday, after our last game on Thursday, the 12th, I guess they had a meeting at around 10 o'clock in the morning on Friday, the 13th. And, between Major League Baseball and Rob Manfred, the commissioner, and, of course, our owners, the DeWitts and John Mozeliak and everybody got together and basically realized for the best of everybody there, they were just going to send everybody home. So, coming home, I thought, well, at the time they were telling us 2 weeks. If you remember, everybody was told 2 weeks and we'll reevaluate. And I pretty much had already mentally prepared myself that wasn't going to happen. You can't just set yourself up for failure and disappointment every 2 weeks. So mentally, I'm ready to make it until June 1st. Yeah. But financially, who's ready to be off work until then?
Yeah.
So like I said, I was coming home thinking, well, I'll play music and I'll do a little bit to make ends meet here and there. And then I guess it was that following Sunday that things pretty well got shut down. The bars and restaurants and everything local, which is totally understandable. We need to take this serious.
Right, and I think that's what really hit home for me is when I'm a big baseball fan, and when they're shutting down major sporting teams, I knew it was serious at that point because they're going to lose a lot of money, a lot more than we can imagine they're going to lose. And what was the atmosphere like with some of the guys and the players or anybody that you were interacting with down there? It was probably a little bit surreal and.
Yeah, there was not. I mean, when I went in Friday morning, knowing that it was going to be it, I was packing up everything, but still documenting. As a team photographer, it's different than say a news journalist or something like that, where we're just there documenting what's going on at that moment. I've got to kind of document history. Even though there wasn't any games being played, there wasn't any baseballs being thrown or anything like that happening. It's still, we're going to look back on this, and we want to. How can I tell that story? So the clubhouse was completely closed off, understandably. There was no media on site other than myself. I'm the only one even on the premise with a camera. Basically, everybody else was gone, not even allowed in. They restricted it that heavily. So I just basically kind of covered the mood. It was really somber. Just all the guys were walking out, on their phones. I wouldn't say it was like a state of panic, but everybody, it was more of just kind of chaos and confusion. What are we going to do? Here's what they're telling us, but we need to be prepared for this. So basically, just through my lens, I just documented what was going on from that aspect of it. And then once the guys started walking out with their stuff, I knew it was serious and final. When they're walking out with their gloves and bats and bags and everything, that's definitely not something you like to see.
Yeah. So you were able to hang out that long and see everybody actually leave too as well, huh? Or start leaving. Yeah.
Pretty much the last guys that left that day were Harrison Bader and Jordan Hicks. They were in there just talking, and I had of course seen Harrison throughout the day. Just I don't know, he was on his phone, just whether he was making calls to his family, because these guys probably had family that were going to come down for games and to spend time with them, and it wasn't. They were probably like, look, don't even make that trip. I'm assuming that's what was going on.
I was thinking about some of the foreign players who don't even live in the United States. I mean, they're probably wondering if they were even going to get to go home at that point, even. So
right.
So yeah.
Yeah, because, and not even just the foreign players, but when they start restricting flights, and nobody knew at that time, everything was up in the air. Are they going to shut down air travel completely? How are we going to get from point A to point B? At that point, everybody was pretty well making plans.
Yeah. So, you came back home, but, it's been a pretty good year, because I want to go back in time. You got to experience the Stanley Cup playoffs and a Stanley Cup championship with the St. Louis Blues, something this town has been waiting for forever. And so tell us about that. Let's talk about some good stuff.
Yeah, so that was, of course, talking from the Cardinals' perspective, I'm a team photographer for the Cardinals, but I cover so many other things that go on in the area, as well as Mizzou, things like that, through other agencies. So that in particular, the Blues, I cover for the Associated Press and USA Today. It was great. I've been covering the Blues since long before I've been covering the Cardinals. So I started with shooting the Blues in 2013, and then I think the following year I started shooting the Cardinals in 2014. But the Blues has been it's such a fun ride, to watch that team. And I can tell you this with 100% honesty. In December of last year, December of the year when they made their cup run, so it would have been 18. I think I told my wife or my daughter or my son, one of them had gone to a game, and we just looked terrible, looked ugly. We were on like a 6 or 9 game losing streak at the time or something, and I'm like, look, this team is as bad as a team as I've seen since I've been shooting them.
Yeah.
They were that bad, that so far out of sync. And then, of course, they ended up making the change. You got rid of Mike Yo, brought in Berube, and the rest is history, as they say.
That team seemed to me like a very fan-friendly team.
Oh, yeah.
And, they were going through some tough times, like you said early on, but was that kind of how they were the whole year? Did they let it really bother them, or did they...
That's the thing about hockey players, and all athletes pretty much, and especially guys that play so many games, Major League Baseball, NBA, and the NHL. When you play that many games, I can imagine your train of thought or the process, the way you deal with wins and losses has to be completely different than, say, an NFL player, somebody who plays once a week in only 15 or 16 games in a season. Where when you're playing, 80, 90, 100, 162 games in a season, you kind of let those wins and losses roll off a little bit easier, don't you think? I mean, It seems like the hockey players do. Even when they were in that streak, while the fans were in an uproar and losing their minds, the players didn't seem to affect them or bother them. I would see them every night. They still drive out and they'd sign their autographs and wave or take pictures or whatever. It didn't seem to bother them, but that's what made that team special in the end.
Now, were you able to take part in the parade?
I was not. So I actually, my main business is front row photo here locally. We do all different kinds of sports, from senior photos down to little leagues. I mean, even though I'm the team photographer for the Cardinals and I cover the Blues and I cover Mizzou and I cover the SEC championships and all that stuff, the Big Ten championships, I still I don't neglect the little guys. That's basically where where I started. And as long as time will permit, I will continue to do that. As long as they'll have me, I'll continue to shoot, all our park and rec districts, all our little leagues, all our travel teams, high schools, Alton, Edwardsville, Marquette, Civic Memorial, Jerseyville, basically all these teams, local high school teams, I work with them. I still work with the Telegraph in a limited capacity, just because budget, things like that, and then time as well. I don't have a whole lot of time to do it, but I still enjoy working with those guys. And so it enables me to get out and see the kids from the smallest of little leagues all the way up to the highest level. But yeah, getting back to why I wasn't able to participate in the parade, I had already had a huge baseball league, park and rec district, 500 kids booked that day to shoot. And we tried rescheduling it. There was just no way to make it happen. So unfortunately, I missed out on that fun.
Did you get to touch the cup?
Oh yeah, I've seen the cup. We had a couple different engagements that we had to cover at the park that actually came to Busch Stadium. So I did a shoot with Fred Bird and Louie with the cup on the field, which was very, very cool. The cup handlers are phenomenal. The guys that always travel with the cup, just great, gracious people, wonderful human beings, just great. You'd think that they would get tired of it and all the people, the same questions over and over and over again. But no, it was fun. So yeah, I did. And the cup is just a magnificent piece of history.
So yeah, not only shut down on the professional side of your photography as far as professional sports, but with the amateurs as well. They're all out of school, they're not playing, and so not much photo taking you can do right now, I guess, huh?
No, nothing at all. I'm passing the time. Those people that know me know that I'm a huge fan of music. Always have been all my life. Not just a huge fan, but a huge collector of music. All things music. The physical format of music has always attracted me. So, I've collected vinyl for over 30 years, and it's huge now. Everybody's back into vinyl. But, I also I collect cassettes. I collect 8 tracks. It's crazy, all the different formats of music. And people are like, 8 tracks? I'm like, oh, man, there's just some sort of a love, a connection. So that's what I've been spending my time with.
Yeah,
lately.
Going through your collection and that kind of thing.
Yeah, organizing, cataloging, cleaning. It never ends. It never ends. Plus, getting a database of things. There are several different online databases you can join or be a part of, and actually basically create an online inventory of your collection. Should something happen, number one, I use it for reference. So when I'm out at a record store or a flea market or an antique shop or whatever, and I see something, because as good as my memory is, I'm getting older and I'm starting to forget a little bit more, and you can't remember everything, right? So I just pull it up on my phone and I can tell what I have, what I don't have, and it makes it nice. Plus, if something were to ever happen, my wife wouldn't. She has no idea what I have down here, she sees it, but you just, until you don't know. So something like that happens. I would hate to see it end up just pawned off. Hopefully, somebody wants it. One of my kids or grandkids or something. Should I live that long, I would hope that somebody takes an interest and I can just say, hey, this is yours.
Yeah.
But should nobody want it, I want to make sure she's got the right revenues to get rid of it,
Nice.
Or having,
So I see you're one of the many artists who have taken to Facebook for some performing. You've been doing a little bit of that, huh?
Yeah, I've always done that just here and there, just sporadically when time could allow. I used to post my Music Monday videos, and I would record a song and just post them. Tried to do it every Monday, but life got in the way. Things got busy, work and other things, and I didn't do it for about a year. And then this happened, and I'm like, well, I've got nothing but time, so there's no excuse there. So I started out just doing my videos a day, and I kind of tongue-in-cheek, called it Cooped Up with COVID-19, because we're all cooped up.
Yeah.
if unless you're essential, you need to be staying home. I mean, this is no joke. So I thought, you know what better way to help people pass the time than to play some music, and that led to going live and just seeing. We did that last Saturday. We actually went live, and the comments, the response, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Just absolutely unbelievable. And people were sending in virtual tips. Just like when I play live, people would send in their requests, and they'll give you a tip when you play it. Well, through the technology, the modern marvels of technology, we're able to have Venmo and PayPal and Facebook Pay and all this great stuff that. People, if they feel like they're entertained and they want to help, they've helped out tremendously. It's been great. But they've also said that I've helped them just as much or more than they've helped me. It's been wonderful. We try and do it once a week.
Yeah. Well, I've been searching for the positive things, with all this. And one of the things that has been really fun for me to watch is to see all the artists who are inventive people anyways, come up with just new ways to entertain us. You know what I mean? Just go with it and figure something out, because that's what an artist does. I mean, if we come unplugged during a song, we plug it back in, right?
Right. Lord knows that's happened, man. You can't stop. Yeah. That's the whole thing. It's like being a live performer. And I told my wife, my wife actually joined me. My wife sings a little bit, but she's just not really comfortable in front of a crowd or in front of the camera. Nothing like I am. I've just been doing it forever, so it comes second nature to me. And I told her, I said, honey, if something happens, if I hit a wrong chord, or if I sing when I'm not supposed to sing harmony, and you can't stop and say, hey, you got to roll with it. You got to let that thing go. And she did. She did a fantastic job.
Yeah, and I could see that with a lot of the artists around town. They're finding new ways to keep themselves busy and keep themselves positive and wait this thing out. And that's really all we can do.
Yeah, even guys that are working, not just the guys like myself who are cooped up in here, and under the shelter in place, like we've been ordered to be, but even some of the essential people, like my friend Steve Mellis, who is the singers for the Outlaw Opry. Steve's working. He owns a business, a tire shop and mechanic shop up in Jerseyville, and he's still making his daily videos. There was a couple days he said he was actually so busy. When it's really nice, people get out and they need to get tires changed, or they need to get an oil change or whatever, and he didn't have time to make any videos, but he's still doing it even while he's working, and I think it's great.
One thing Pigpen and I brought up on a couple of shows since this all came down was, a lot of guys, when they're playing out all the time, they're constantly rehearsing their songs and keeping them up to speed, to be ready for that live performance. They don't have the extra time to sit down and write new material. And we're thinking, and then especially like a cover band who never has time to do that, maybe some of these artists are going to have the time now. We're going to see several recordings come out of this.
Yeah, that's something that I didn't even think about, because once you become a professional working and touring musician, your time, it's very limited, because you're spread so thin between shows, between writing, between recording, between doing radio interviews, you name it. They have so much stuff to do. Toby Keith actually said one time, usually your first album's great. These guys that come out right out of the bat with a killer first album. And then the reason you see that sophomore slump is because, you've had your whole life to write that first album, and you get a year to write that second album. And, it's usually true. You see a lot of artists, not to say all artists, because there's been some sophomore albums that are killer. But I would think you're right. You and Pigpen have a great point, that now that people have time, I'd say in the next 9 months or a year, 18 months, we're probably fixing to hear some really killer stuff from some of these artists.
I think so too, because they're going to be able to relax, get in that zone, which is so crucial to writing, right? So are you writing songs now, or?
I it's sad to say that I don't really write anymore, just because I feel as a writer, you you can't do it when you want to do it. You have to do it all the time. It doesn't come and go. And that's like with my photography. I do it all the time. It's something you have to live, eat, breathe, sleep. Once I made that decision to go from here to here in my professional career, I pretty much set songwriting aside. I still play and sing because I enjoy it. It's not work to me whatsoever. Songwriting doesn't come that easy to me. It's a little bit more planning and a little bit more work. But I have some great friends that I've written with in the past that have asked if we want to be able to write. And I'd love to try and sit down and write again. I'll never do it again on the level that I did 20, 25 years ago.
We talked in the past about Small Town Hero, and one of your co-writers on there, Banjo, who used to be on the station quite often.
Oh, yeah.
I was wondering, have you heard from him lately?
The last time I talked with Jeff was probably 5 years ago. And, he's... Jeff's always had, his own little things that he's dealt with, and he's just one of those guys that I'm sure we all have those people in our lives that they're there, and then you blink your eye and they're gone.
Yeah.
It was a magical time with Banjo. That's it. I don't know if that was a name that he was given or if he gave it to himself, but everybody knows him as Banjo.
Yeah.
And he doesn't play a banjo.
No.
He plays guitar. Yeah, Jeff is just one of those individuals that come into your life at the right time. And I saw him playing guitar one day, and we ended up just making friends. And he was more of a poet than anything else. He didn't work with melodies. He just wrote lyrics. He was a lyricist and a poet. Even though he played music, he had a hard time putting his words to music. So it was a really, really good thing. We worked together and wrote probably 40 or 50 songs that ended up being those first 12 songs on Small Town Fool.
Yeah. And I only bring him up because I knew he was a mutual friend, and he's one of those guys, like you said, if you've met Banjo, you'll always remember Banjo. I mean, he was a great guy, man. So, cool to touch base with you on that. So, I don't know. What are you going to do? I guess listen to all that vinyl you got behind you for the folks watching in the video. You got quite a bit. I think that'll
listen to some Buck Owens a minute ago.
I think that'll kill some time. I mean...
Yeah, it'll kill a lot of time. And that's my son's always giving me grief over it. He's like, there's no way you're ever going to be able to listen to all that stuff. And I'm like, son, at one point or another, I've listened to all this stuff, and I will plan on listening to it as much as I can.
Yeah.
It's what I do. I mean, it is literally my drug of choice. I mean, I don't drink, I don't do drugs. So I have various other habits that take up my time and my money. Uh-huh. This is it. And at the end of the day, my wife is cool about it. She realizes there are so many other worse things I could be doing. This all comes secondary, obviously, to family. The family comes first, and then anything after that, I'm able. And you know what? I'd be remiss to say without mentioning, I have so many great friends. It's obvious. If you follow me on Facebook, you'll see. I have probably the best group of friends around, and a lot of this stuff is handed down from friends who have had family members pass on, or maybe they were given it, or maybe it was theirs and they just didn't. They don't care. They don't want it anymore. It doesn't attract them like it does me, and they want to just make sure it goes to a good home rather than give it to Goodwill or sell it at a garage sale for a quarter or 50 cents a piece.
I think the last time we had you on, you were about to get your own copy of your album on vinyl.
Yeah, you know what?
Whip it out. He's going for it, folks. Here it is.
There it is. Look at that sexy bad mofo right there, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was so cool to be able to record, not only record a record 20... This is 20. At that time, it was 20 years ago. We were celebrating our 20-year anniversary, and that was in 2017. So this thing's 23 years old. To be able to go from when we recorded that to now having it on a double LP, it's tremendous. It's unbelievable. And yeah, I still have some of these available. We actually sold through the first initial pressing of that. It was crazy with all my different online social media boards and message boards and chat rooms and things, just through vinyl. I have so many friends that didn't even know I was a musician that just collected vinyl. So we sold a ton through there. And locally, we haven't sold near as many as I would have liked to. But we sold enough to actually sell out that first pressing. And we just got a second pressing in about 3 months ago.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So I guess they can go to your Facebook page if they want to pick that up?
Yeah, they can actually go to billyhurst.com. That'd be the easiest way because all the information is there. They can definitely get it through Facebook just by reaching out and messaging me. But the easiest way is just to go to billyhurst.com and you can see all the different packages that we have available. We have vinyl packages. We have some signed copies. We have even cassettes. So that's if you still have a cassette player. But most of that stuff. The people that collect cassettes like myself, yes, I have cassette players, but if you don't keep those things up, keep new belts, keep them lubed, keep them cleaned, eventually they're going to stop working. So it's more of a nostalgia thing, especially for people my age. People when you grew up with cassettes and that was the format of choice, you had your Sony Walkman, you could take it with you. That's why people collect cassettes.
Yeah, I got to bring this up because the folks who weren't watching the video, the folks listening on the radio, when Billy pulled his piece of vinyl out, he showed me the front, he showed me the back, but here's the most important part. He pulled the vinyl out of the package and showed me the actual vinyl, and that means something to guys like us that collect vinyl. It's like you get that little smell that comes out when you pull that vinyl out, and the look on his face is just priceless.
Yeah. And the label, too.
Yeah.
The custom center labels, it's like the little things that vinyl nerds appreciate.
Yeah. So I can imagine how exciting that was to get that in the mail. Well, appreciate it so much, Billy Hurst, for talking to me for a minute, and your enthusiasm wears on us, and we appreciate that, man, because that's what we need right now.
Thank you for having me. Anytime, I would love to join you guys. Sorry that Pigpen couldn't join us today, but Dennis, it's always a pleasure talking to you guys.
Yeah. Well, I know how busy you are, and I thought, if I'm going to catch Billy Hurst, now's the time. He's stopped.
Oh, yeah, especially during the spring, man.
Right.
You start catching me from spring training on, you might want to you're going to have to wait until November. Right. You got to catch me on a typical year, you got to catch me between November and January. You got a little 3-month window where it's not dead, but things are slow that I can kind of breathe a little bit.
It seemed like
I'm kind of taking this as kind of a little bit of a welcome break. As much as I would love to be out there working, because I'm a workaholic. I got it from my parents. I absolutely am a workaholic. But I'm taking it serious as well. I want to make sure everybody else is too.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, we appreciate everything you do for us, keeping us entertained, and odd to talk to you during baseball season. That's for sure. But yeah. Good to see you, and that's something we've been bringing up on the video chat as we do this. Just looking at another person is exciting these days.
It's so weird. I never thought, in a million years I would be talking to somebody on the phone, and we sit here and we have FaceTime conversations. We do the Facebook chat. Which is awesome. I mean, remember when we were kids and you'd watch the Jetsons and they would talk they'd have their little phone, the communication box, and you could see who you're talking to, and I'm like, that's not going to happen. Not in my lifetime. Boy, was I wrong.
Yeah.
Man.
All right. BillyHurst.com, right?
BillyHurst.com. Yeah, and if they want to join in, if they're not doing anything, I haven't figured out if it's going to be this Friday night or this Saturday night. We're going to do another live concert on Facebook. So you just go to Billy Hurst on Facebook, and all the information will be there as far as when we're going to do it. And you just click on the stream, and you don't have to be a friend of mine to I made air quotes for the radio guys. You don't have to be a friend of mine on Facebook to enjoy the live concert or the live stream.
Thanks for picking up the slack there, so I didn't have to describe the air quotes.
Right. I keep forgetting we're on radio when I can see you. You know.
I did think it seemed like you were playing out a little bit more here in the last year or two too.
And I had a ton of dates booked, and I still have a ton of dates booked for this year. So, you know, knock on wood, we get through this and knock this thing out in a reasonable amount of time, and we're able to get back to business as usual this summer. You can go to billyhurst.com and you'll find those dates as well.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head, but like Bakers and Hale may have been a place I seen you were playing. Where else? Like Pump House, maybe?
Bakers and Hale, Pump House.
Up in Grafton, probably.
Wood River Moose. Up in Grafton, we played Drifters. We played Hog Pit. We'll play Jerseyville, Carrollton, but yeah, you've pretty well hit a lot of the major ones. Ropers, we enjoy playing Ropers here in Gotham.
All right, and you can check all that out once we get rolling again at billyhurst.com. Hey, we got to mention Front Row as well. Where can they contact you about Front Row Photography? You
can go to frontrowphoto.com, which is frontrow-photo.com, or you can just go to Facebook and type in Front Row Photo.
Yeah.
You can get a hold of me there as well. Like I said, once things calm down and people want some photos of their kids, you know, we talked about high school sports being shut down. That's the worst part. Is just think of those seniors that aren't going to be able to get that time back. You know, if you ever played any sports when you were in high school, you know how special your senior year is. You make those relationships with your coaches and your friends and your teammates, and it's a bond that you keep for life. And for those kids to miss out on that because of this terrible thing we're going through right now, I totally feel for them.
Yeah, definitely. All right, folks, we've been talking to Billy Hurst. Thanks a lot, Billy. And as we mentioned, billyhurst.com. You can check everything out there. Also, check out Front Row Photo on Facebook. That's Front Row-Photo, right? And, help him out, man. If you get a chance, get online and give Billy a tip. He needs a little help right now, just like all the artists who are trapped in this quarantine. So, and plus, he'll entertain you if you find him, that's for sure. Thanks a lot, Billy.
All right, thank you.
You're listening to Riverbend Talent, brought to you by the Halpin Music Company and by Mr. Matt Van Voorhis of Macias Insurance.